Lately, there's been a lot of buzz online thanks to some insider chatter that got fans wondering. Could Sylvester Stallone actually be gearing up for Cobra 2, a follow-up to his classic 80s action movie? And just when that idea starts heating up, another rumor hits the internet. This time about a Cobra reboot, possibly with Ryan Gosling stepping into the lead role. So now we've got two big questions. Is Cobra 2 really happening? And what's the deal with the reboot? Let's break down everything we know so far about what's going on with the Cobra franchise. The legacy of Cobra. Cobra hit theaters back in 1986. Even though the critics didn't exactly love it, the movie still found an audience and made a decent chunk of money. There was actually talk about a sequel, Cobra Part 2, just a year later in 1987. But for some reason, it never got off the ground. After that, the whole franchise kind of went silent. Then fast forward to 2019, and Stallone drops a little bombshell during an interview with Fandango. He's asked about old characters he'd want to bring back, and without missing a beat, he says Cobra. Turns out he'd already been chatting with director Robert Rodriguez, the guy behind Machete and El Mariachi, about bringing Cobra back. Not as a movie, but as a TV series. Stallone even said something like, "I'm talking with Robert Rodriguez right now about Cobra. It could happen as a series," and added that Rodriguez is basically taking the lead on it now. Honestly, that tracks. Rodriguez has already turned from dusk till dawn into a show, so rebooting Cobra for TV seems right up his alley. If it does happen, it could go in a totally new direction. A new direction for Cobra. The original was about street crime and cults, but this time, it could be all about high-tech criminals and cyber warfare. Picture this. Cobra's been off the grid for years, but crime's evolved. Now, there's this underground cyber network pulling strings from the shadows. A young hacker finds out too much and ends up in danger, which pulls Cobra back into action. But this isn't just car chases and shootouts anymore. It's AI assassins, digital surveillance, and hacking wars. Cobra's got to adapt, and maybe even team up with a younger crew of cyber experts. Still, he brings that classic brute force and tough guy attitude to the table. And of course, we'd still get the neon-lit city vibes, gritty fights, and some killer one-liners from Stallone. The villain? Instead of a knife-wielding cult leader, maybe it's a genius-level hacker who thinks he's untouchable behind a screen, but Cobra's about to prove that some battles still need to be fought the old-school way. Up close and personal. Reboot rumors. Gyllenhaal or Gosling? Now, on the reboot side of things, there's been talk of Jake Gyllenhaal stepping in as the new Cobra. Yep, you heard that right. If this version moves forward, it might even spin off into a TV show, too. Stallone's original take on Cobra was basically his version of Dirty Harry, so casting someone like Gyllenhaal makes a lot of sense. Stallone even mentioned him specifically, saying, "Jake has that dark side vibe. Just look at Nightcrawler, dude can get intense." If Gyllenhaal takes on the role, they could bring the story into the modern era. Maybe his Cobra is dealing with corrupt law enforcement or a hidden crime ring controlling the city. And if it becomes a series, there's room to really explore the character, his sense of justice, his past, all the moral gray areas. And guess what? There's also chatter that Ana de Armas might join the reboot as the female lead. If that's true, that'd be a killer combo. She's already proved she can handle action in No Time to Die, The Gray Man, and John Wick 4. Whether she's a partner detective or someone Cobra has to protect, you can bet she won't be playing the typical damsel in distress. She could totally hold her own and maybe even steal a few scenes. If she and Gyllenhaal team up, the chemistry could add an awesome edge to the story. Whether it's tension, romance, rivalry, or just two tough characters going head-to-head against a criminal empire. Fan demands, the director's cut. While we're talking about Cobra, fans have also been calling for a proper director's cut of the original film. We already saw Stallone rework Rocky IV, so why not give Cobra the same treatment? Back in the day, the studio chopped it down to under 90 minutes just to compete with Top Gun. That meant a lot of cool stuff, character moments, creepy scenes, extra action, ended up on the cutting room floor. Some collectors say there's still a longer, unreleased version floating around out there. Ryan Gosling, the wild card favorite. That said, if there's one actor who could rival Jake Gyllenhaal in a Cobra reboot, it's Ryan Gosling. And not just because of his slick action chops or movie star charisma. It's because the man genuinely grew up idolizing Sylvester Stallone. On the flip side of Gyllenhaal's brooding intensity, Gosling brings a mix of cool, restrained emotion and explosive precision when it's time to throw down. Just look at Drive. He barely says a word, but every stare, every punch, every burnout behind the wheel is pure Cobra energy. He's the strong, silent type with a moral code buried beneath a leather jacket and bloodied fists. Sound familiar? Here's where it gets really interesting. Gosling has gone on record saying his favorite action movie star growing up was none other than Sylvester Stallone. In an interview with MTV News, Gosling said, "Stallone, he's such a good actor. So you've got action, but you've got these amazing characters at the center of it. It was just it was a beautiful marriage. I miss those days." That's not just lip service. That's admiration from someone who clearly respects what Stallone built. It also means Gosling wouldn't just treat a Cobra reboot like another paycheck. He'd likely treat it like an homage to the guy who inspired him to act in the first place. If Stallone is looking to hand off the Cobra torch to someone who gets it, Gosling's probably near the top of his wish list. Final thoughts. Let's be real. Stallone knows talent. Having created Rocky and Rambo, he's worked with some of the biggest names in the business and launched entire franchises with his own two hands and fists. Stallone's franchises are known for their grit, heart, and brutal honesty. Qualities Gosling's been leaning into more and more with projects like Blade Runner 2049, The Nice Guys, and The Gray Man. That last one especially, The Gray Man, marks Gosling's biggest leap yet into the high-octane action arena. A $200 million Netflix blockbuster, it put him squarely back in the genre Stallone helped define. Giving Gosling's shout-out to Stallone, it's not a stretch to imagine him circling a Cobra reboot if the opportunity came up. After all, this isn't just an action hero role. It's a legacy role. And Gosling has the acting chops and understated toughness to carry that legacy forward. Compare that to Gyllenhaal, who brings intensity and nuance, especially in dark, psychological roles like Nightcrawler. But Gosling arguably aligns even more with the Cobra DNA. And if Stallone really wants to pass the torch to someone who understands the weight of the role, Gosling might just be the best choice. Not just to wear the shades, but to truly carry the legacy of Cobra into a bold new era. And that's a wrap for today's video. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next one. Let's go.